What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boys over here at Three Man Weave. I'm your co-host CJ, here with my lovely co-host ZD on this Monday, January 19th night. Happy MLK Day for everybody, you know what I'm saying? We had early games on today, so I was telling ZD that I was getting off of
Sure.
work and I saw that the Thunder were in halftime, so obviously we won't be covering those games since they already ended. It's 7:34 right now. Those games were around like 1 up until later on into the evening. But I feel like games on MLK Day are always great. We get the colorways for the shoes and even
Yeah, yeah,
jerseys at
yeah.
certain points. They were doing that, but we have a good docket. We're going to talk about the Thunder, the Lakers. We also have our Mount Rushmore for centers. ZD and I made a list, so
Yes, sir.
y'all will hear about that. And then we'll talk about some stories of the week. You know what I mean? So we have a good docket. It's gonna be starting the week off right, and excited. I decided to get into this. If y'all can't tell, for all my audio listeners out there, you might want to check this episode out. That boy ZD looking a little crispy right now. You know what I'm saying? But how are you doing tonight,
I
ZD?
appreciate you, man.
Got the new camera. We live
Yes,
in the
sir.
flesh, and how
Yes,
you doing
sir. You know
tonight?
how it is, man. I'm good, bro. I tell you, I'm always above ground. It's gonna take some getting used to, but yeah, we're in the flesh, man. We got a good docket talking about the All-Star starters as well, and
Mm-hmm.
going talking about the Hornets. Hornets have been balling. They've been buzzing. I was gonna say,
Buzzing.
pun intended.
Buzz City, huh?
Yeah, Buzz City, and they're showing up, showing out. They're doing their thing, and I think it's a big deal, man. So we're gonna chop it up about that. Lakers have been sluggish. Same with the Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of up and down part of the season. I think that's what makes it beautiful. We crossed the halfway point. I don't know when this episode will drop, but we'll see, man. We had a lot of great games on MLK Day, and I wasn't able to watch since I was at work, but I know you were too. Maybe you were able to watch some, but I'm doing pretty good, bro. I'm feeling good, ready to chop it up about some hoops and get into our Mount Rushmore because we'll break it down by position, and that way you guys can follow along with us each episode, kind of keep it new and fresh. So yeah, man, I mean, what a better way to start it off? I think the Hornets, last or 2 games ago, we had lost to the Hornets 135-117. And man, honestly, it was the LaMelo Ball show. I mean, first half he wasn't really cooking, but in that second half, I think he had like 8 3-pointers. A lot of paint touches were given up. I know Luka had 40 points as well in this game, or 39 points. LeBron also had 30 as well. But when you give up 30 points and 11 assists to LaMelo Ball, who's been up and down, been in trade talks, and people are kind of giving up on his value.
Mm.
I saw it firsthand.
Yeah.
I think him and Conknupple, Brandon Miller, they gel really well. And honestly, at this level, I think Coach Smith got on playing well. Over the last 10 games, we'll talk about them in their segment, but I think they're like second in net rating.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think they're top five in offensive rating as well. So they've been playing extremely well, and I think our squad right now, and as you guys have heard, for my audio listeners out there, and obviously for the viewers, the defense, bro, it's just non-existent. We give up so many paint touches. There's also a lot of offensive rebounds in this one. And our bench was the main. I wrote down in our notes. I think we only scored 9 points
Mm.
as a bench unit. And I've spoken about this too on the show. We're last in bench scoring, bro. And if we want to be a real contender, Cam brought it up last night, but the Lakers just can't guard anybody, so we're not going to be a contender. If you
Mm-hmm.
can't guard, because you're talking about football, same with basketball, but if you can't guard, you're not going far. And I think when it compounds, whenever your bench also can't score, and Luka Doncic and LeBron James, and obviously Austin Reeves has been injured, and honestly, I haven't spoken about that a ton, but I think he does impact our offense a lot whenever he's not out on the court because we don't have that third initiator or that second creator to help Luca or help LeBron. And you can really see it in games like this. We
Mm-hmm.
struggle on our bench and we struggle from the defensive, to cover the defensive paint area. And I think at this stage of the season, we are who we are. I don't think it's going to change. I think Jared Vanderbilt and Marcus Smart are our best defenders, and they showed that in this game. I think they had a couple nice steals. They had a couple nice plays. I know in the first half we played well, and I think going into that second half, I thought it was going to be a little bit of a different story. I didn't finish watching this one. I watched the Raptors one, kind of in the second half, but I wasn't able to finish the second half. But I saw like after I woke up to go to work, that LaMelo had those like 8 threes in the second half. So that's what really does it, bro. And the 9 points from our bench, it's just not going to get it done, especially against the Charlotte Hornets team who's been playing pretty well, who beat your squad, if I'm not mistaken,
Mm-hmm.
over the last 5 games. So they've been hooping. We played the Raptors last night, though. I think we ended up bouncing back. We beat them 110-93. We actually had a 32-point third quarter, and then we held them to 13 points in the fourth quarter. Like I just brought up a couple minutes ago, the defense. If we can turn that on, we're going to be a great team. I don't care if we score 130 points, but if we're giving up 93 points to a Raptors squad who's been playing well, going to make the playoffs this season, probably going to have a couple All Stars, Scotty Barnes, Bi, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that really showed me, oh, all right, we can compete a little bit. And this was a marker in our season, I feel like, because we haven't played well against teams that are top 15, top half of the league. And I've brought that up on this podcast. But we played really well in that second half last night. And I think Luka had 25 and 7. LeBron had 24 and 7. It was the DeAndre Ayton game, bro. I saw him working out, had 13 rebounds, 25 points as well on 10 of 10 shooting. Like, you can't draw up a better game than that. He was perfect from the field, really contributing, and it was really our defense in this one, man. I think to hold a team at 93 points kind of speaks to how we were doing. Nobody really got it going for the Raptors. I don't have the box pulled up, but I forgot how many Barnes and Bi had combined for. But I was telling you, because I was with CJ last night, I was like, man, I feel like they're gonna pop off, and that didn't end up happening. So that was good. It was just like I said, it was a good marker for our season because I've spoken about how we haven't been able to beat teams like this, and I think this was a good bounce back game. And I'll take it. I think following up, I want to see us continue to play well on the defensive end, and I think JJ is starting to get a little bit better about not exploding after every single game, talking about how we can't guard. Clearly, we're not a great defensive team, but if we can buckle our chin strap, bro, play with defensive connectivity. If Aiton wants to be involved in the defensive end, rotating and help side, if Vanderbilt and Marcus Smart can play with active hands, I think the Lakers will be fine. I think we're 25 and 16 right now. We're sixth in the West. I wish we were a little bit better, but I can't complain. I think, what is it? We'll play the 3 seed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not exactly sure who that is at this moment, but that being said, I'm not trying to play the Thunder or the Nuggets, so hopefully, I'm sure it'll be the Nuggets or something. It'll probably be the Nuggets.
Nuggets.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we do not want to play them. If you guys don't
No.
know, the Nuggets are our kryptonite. We haven't been able to beat the Nuggets in a playoff series since ever, really. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just been tough to play them, so I don't want to play them. But I think we're in a good spot. We just have to continue to guard. We played really well against the Raptors, so I'm thankful for that. The W's, bro, like right now, people are hurt. You got to get them where you can. Like even the Thunder are struggling a little bit to really put together great wins.
Mm-hmm.
Every single team is hitting that low, right? The Rockets and the Nuggets with Nikola Jokic's injury, and the Jazz and the Pacers. Like there's a couple teams who are playing really up and down. The Lakers right in that mix as well, and I mean, damn, the Clippers and the Hornets are some of the best teams in the NBA right now, bro. So
Mm-hmm.
we just got to figure out a way to play the better defense. But yeah, the last 2 games we 1-on-1, we split them. But we ended up playing a lot better in that Raptors game, and I just think it was the defense. And yeah, bro, I'm thankful. So, like I always say, you got to get the W's whenever you can,
Yeah.
right?
No, yeah, bro. I think that's like the main thing that I've realized too with this season, bro. It's just you gotta attack every game just with the mentality of like, it's not gonna be a given win. You gotta go out there, you gotta compete at a high level, and I think that's the main thing. Even with the loss as a team, it's I think with us specifically, I feel like that's certain moments of the season when we kind of went through a little low period at the couple weeks ago, and we're 6-6 whatever at our last 12, and kind of turned it around. Obviously, this past 2 games, so 3 if you count today. Didn't really get to watch that game, so not gonna speak on it too much. I mean, I might just talk about a couple box score warrior type vibes, but we were able to beat the Rockets the other night, 111-91. It's a great game, honestly. I think the score is a little deceiving. Fourth quarter is when we really, locked in. I think we only gave up 14 points in that quarter to them. 16, sorry. We outscored them 34-16. So that's really when, we kind of pushed away, ended up taking the lead. But as a whole, it was just it was a playoff atmosphere type of game. You know what I mean? We were in Houston at the Toyota Center. KD didn't have the greatest shooting performance, right? He only scored 19 and he was 7 for 23. And that was pretty much, the whole a lot of the players for them. It seems like we were able to limit a lot of them, get contested shots, play good defense with, it's something that the Thunder do. Sorry, I don't know why I said Warriors. But I think that was the type of performance, especially going against the Rockets, who have kind of been, not doing that well as of late. But they didn't have Sengun for like a week or two or whatever it was, so that's kind of why they fell in the standings. But we know the type of team that the Rockets are. I think it's just this game specifically, and kind of having Sengun out, it just kind of showed me that they're really missing that point guard play. Fred VanVleet injury that we had talked about before the season even started. I think that's a huge loss for them. I mean, we talked about that at the beginning of the season as well, but
Huge.
seeing what they're able to do, and kind of their weaknesses, that's it. I mean, they're playing Amen Thompson at a point guard and playing everyone down essentially. He would probably be 2, 3 depending on the roster, and obviously Fred would be their one. But not having that playmaker, bro, not having, not saying KD can't play make or Amen, but not having a solidified role for that point guard. That's definitely what they're missing. So I think that's something that I'm realizing with this Rockets team. Obviously, rebounds, that that's their mantra, that's what they're known for, number one in all rebounding stats. And that in this game, I think specifically they got 60 and we had 44, so blew us out on the boards. But the fact that we were able to hold them under 100 points, 91. So I think that kind of just goes to show the type of defense that we have. And it just, the Rockets, they rely so much on KD in moments to, make a play, score a bucket at all times. I mean, I think it's going to be your, not, wouldn't say downfall, but that's going to be the thing for them, come playoff time. I think it's going to be easy for a team to lock in on them, and on the defensive side, just because they don't have a true point guard to really facilitate and run the offense. So that's kind of my what I realized while I was watching this game. Obviously, like I said,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it looked, or on the box score, it looks like a blowout. But like I said, that fourth quarter is really when we locked in. Shea dropped. He 20. He had to come in.
He
I mean,
barely,
he
yeah,
barely did. Yeah, he got to the
facts.
line, and I know you probably saw it. I know some of the audience probably saw it. Him and KD were kind of chirping. They were talking about like, "Oh, you're the 7th seed" or whatever. No, I don't think that's what it was. I think he was talking about his free throw percentage or something. So, but no, yeah, that was a good game. Like I said, that was kind of the type of performance that from the Thunder that I'm used to seeing. We shot pretty well from the field, 46, and then this is one of those games where we shot pretty well from three, and I think that's kind of what made the game a little out of reach
Uh-huh.
for them. 39%, 16 for 41, did well at the free throw line. I think that's the type of, this is a type of performance where if the Thunder can make 35% of their three pointers in a game, you get like this type of result, So I think that's kind of goes to show, great defense. Obviously, having KD shoot less than 50%. I mean, I think that's a, accomplishment in its own. You know what I mean? One of the greatest scorers, just past
Yeah,
Dirk.
literally.
You know what I mean? So, shout out to the boys. That was a great game. But bro, the next game, the Miami Heat, bro. We went to Miami going against the Heat. Ended up losing, bro, 122 to 120, bro. This was a really good
Hey,
game. Really good game. And I brought it up to you yesterday
Wigs.
when we were watching the playoff games, NFL playoff games. They put up 111 shots, bro. And I'm not gonna lie to
Yes,
you,
bro.
I have not been watching as much Heat games, but obviously I know that they're the fastest team in the league, has the fastest pace. So obviously I realize that they're probably going to put up a lot of shots. But bro, we put up 77 shots. They put up 111. So that's insane. They shot 37% from the field and were still able to beat us. So I think it kind of goes to show like a matchup thing. You know what I mean? Like they match
Right.
up well against us. They're the type of offense that they run is where we kind of not lack on defense because we're still, we're still only able to beat us by 2, but they're trying to run in transition. They're trying to find the open man for the three. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of a way, kind of like how the Pacers were. You know what I mean? I feel like that's why they gave us so much trouble in the finals last year. It's just they're constant going, going, going. Bam ended up
Right.
having a career game from the three. I think he ended up hitting six. Yeah, he was 6 for 10. So I think that it kind of goes to show just the type of mentality that the Heat have. And I know you talked about it yesterday, and I'll bring it up. If the Heat could play at this tempo, and obviously I think at this point that's what they're going to be doing for the foreseeable future. Um, Coach Spo is, I think he's one of the greatest coaches I've seen, and what he's able to do to kind of changing the mentality of the roster and how the game plan coming into each situation. He's one of the greatest. You know what I mean? So the fact that they put up the shots and they are able to knock them down, they start heating up really second half, bro. You know what I mean? I don't think they shot that well from three first half. Second half blazing. Like you said, Wiggs, Bam, Norman Powell was cooking. Bro, I wanted to bring him up. Myron Gardner. I don't know if you ever heard of him. I'm not gonna lie, I've never heard of him. This man was knocking down threes. I think he was 4 for 4 from three. You know what I mean? So 12 points coming off the bench, a flamethrower essentially. So you have those type of moments, bro. I think, that's what we've been, I've been telling y'all this. I've been telling you this, Z. That's where you can beat us. You know what I mean? If you're able to knock down your 3 pointers and just play good enough defense, I think it just causes so much havoc for us. And, when they're playing at that fast pace, it's hard to keep up with that all game. Cause, there was moments in the game where I saw that we were trying to go, like, we were playing to their style, and you know what I mean, and that's not really how the Thunder play. We're a slower tempo. We like to kind of run our offense, have Shea kind of
Right.
initiate it, try to get to the mid range. And when you're having a team getting the board, running down, swinging it, shooting a three, it's it kind of forces a team to play at that speed. So I think that's kind of where they got us. Obviously great game by them, but it was it's tough, bro. You know what I mean? Like I said, not shooting the greatest from the field, the Heat, but they were still able to get the best of us this game, and we had an opportunity to win the game. Shea got the inbound. They double teamed him right away. We swung it to Caruso.
Yeah.
Ends up trying
Yeah.
to make a bank shot, and I'm like, yeah. And Zay had pulled up on me literally right as that play happened, and he's like, "Is that the type of play, or is that who you wanted to get that shot?" I'm like, absolutely not. But that was just the best shot available. If he would have knocked
Hell
it
no.
down, it would have. That's exactly what I said. I said, hell no. But
Hell no.
obviously, if he would have knocked it down, it would have been a different story. But I just don't think that was the
Of course.
best shot.
Case scenario.
Yeah,
Yeah.
best case scenario. But that was the best shot at the time, and it is what it is, bro. You know what I mean? Like, it sucks losing, of course, but eighth loss of the season. Miami feel like they're trending upwards, with just their play style and the mentality that they got. So shout out to them, bro. Like I said, Bam having a career game and from the three just kind of goes to show, it was just their day. So, only lost by 2, but a loss is a loss nonetheless. And I think it kind of goes to show that, that our deficiencies, bro. I think, when we aren't able to hit our threes, when we're not really able to get to the line as frequently, it's kind of hard to compete. This game we shot really well from three, funny enough, but, they ended up putting 53 pointers
Yeah.
and made
Like 40 something
40%.
more
Yeah,
shots.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of, it's a numbers game, so shout out to them. I mean, there's not really much else I could say about that. It is what it is. It sucks, but the Heat, the way that they play, bro, just revolutionized their franchise. Honestly, I think this is going to be the type of play style that they're going to play for, like I said earlier, for the foreseeable future. So it's dope to see that, because that's something I feel like a lot of coaches are just very prideful and they don't want to change their ways. But Spo is a great coach, so he realized that's part of this game and this era and kind of what you have to do. And they don't have like a whole bunch of stars, right? They have Bam, they have Wiggs, right? They have good players, but no player that is just gonna take over every single game. So the fact that they kind of just
Just
bought
cook.
into what they're trying to run and their scheme and stuff, it just goes to show that they're a well run franchise. So shout out to the Heat, bro. But like I said, we ended up playing today too. Ended up getting a dub, blew out the Cavs, bro, 136 to
Right.
104.
That's right.
So a 32-point win. Like I said, I didn't really watch it, so can't really say much about the game. But I saw Chet had a great game. Shea dropped 30. Dort had a really good game as well. He was 5 for 6 from three, and I think he held Donovan Mitchell to only 19 points and 5 for 18. So from
Hey, there you
him,
go.
that's the type of performance we need from him, and I think that's why what made us so good last year was the fact he was 40% 3-point shooter last year. You know what I mean? And this year, obviously not the greatest, but when you get a performance like this from Lou Dort, I mean, that's why you see the outcome. 30-point win, 32-point win against the Cavs, who kind of are on they're in flames right now, bro. They're not looking that good.
Downturn.
Downturn. I think that was who you ended up
BG went
having.
down.
I think you had them coming out the East, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think Darius Garland got hurt. Just Streets, just a lot of injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Mobley went down a month ago or so.
Mm-hmm.
They've just been having to fight for their life. I think Donovan Mitchell's just expected to do a lot, and I think still anything can happen in the East. That's the funny thing about the Eastern Conference is I think you just got to make the playoffs, but we will see.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Cavaliers have the playoff pedigree to really be saying, "Oh, we just got to make it in and we'll be fine."
Right.
Like it ain't really like that. We'll
No.
see how their season plays out, and as of right now, like you're saying, they're kind of a dumpster fire.
Mm-hmm.
I listen to Hoop Collective, and Brian Windhorst is a big Cavaliers fan, and they have something called Cavs Corner.
Mm-hmm.
Talks about the Cavaliers.
Mm-hmm.
Bro was like, "Yeah, I don't want to talk about them right now."
Right.
So it's just like they're not playing well, and when your favorite team isn't playing well, it's tough because you don't believe in the NBA anymore, right? But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I still think they can make some noise in the playoffs. I'm not too concerned about the Eastern Conference per se and how difficult it'll be. I will say the Celtics, the Knicks, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think those two teams right there probably looking at coming out of the East, especially if the Celtics get JT back. But
Mm-hmm.
the East has some sleepers, the 76ers,
Mm-hmm.
the Cavs as well. Like there's some other teams in the mix, the Raptors. So we'll see, bro. I'm not counting the Cavaliers out yet, but
Right.
they're not playing too hot.
No, not at all, bro. I think that's like you said, they're just asking a lot of Donovan Mitchell right now. They just have so many injuries to where you're
Right.
relying on him, and obviously he's a great player, but he can only do so much for you if he doesn't have a good supporting cast, And I think, like you said, playoffs, like you said, right? It's usually let's just make it to that point, but for them, they really haven't had that much success prior to
Yeah, it's
or
deeper than
besides
that.
getting to the first round or getting past the first round, So it's not as simple as that for them. But like you said, it's still we have a long season. We're about to hit All-Star break, so hopefully second half of the season they can kind of turn things around. But as of right now, bro, they're not looking that great. So it's interesting, you know what I mean? Because they on paper and their whole situation that we talked about in the offseason files, they're winning now. Their second apron luxury tax team. They can't really do a lot trading wise. So it's they're in a predicament where they have to win now. And I think I had texted you this. If they don't do anything this season, they get past first round, lose in second round. I think they're gonna have some hard conversations in that locker room.
You have to
So
trade some people,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's just the way that the NBA is. But yeah, man, we had some games, like you said, Thunder played. I think the Bucks played as well.
Mm-hmm.
A couple other teams played. I'm not too sure off the top of my head, but
Clips
Timberwolves maybe.
Clips played against the Wizards. Dallas played against the Knicks, and the Spurs played against the Jazz.
The Jazz. All right, yeah. So we had a couple matchups earlier in the day. We'll go through some of the ones that happened an hour ago. We'll just get in right into it.
Yep.
I think the first one was at 6:30. It was like an hour ago, but or 6 p.m. So hour and a half. But Pacers 76ers is kind of a banger. I think the Pacers obviously missing Tyrese Halliburton, Benedict Mathurin, Obi Toppin. 76ers listed Joel Embiid and Paul George. So hopefully, as game time decisions. So hopefully they ended up going. We'll see, because those guys are always questionable, and I feel like they just play whenever they feel like it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But some of the storylines for this matchup, bro, the Pacers ranked 28th in net rating over their last 3 games, with a minus 16.1 net rating. So the Pacers have been struggling. Pascal Siakam's been doing really well. Andrew Nemhar's been doing really well. You were speaking to me about this, I think yesterday a little bit, but we kind of talked about the Pacers briefly, but they're just bad,
Bad.
bro. Like, I think Rick Carlisle got his 1,000th win recently. Shout out to him. I
Mm-hmm.
know that's a big milestone for him, but they're not. they need to focus on getting a draft pick because they're pretty much out of playoff contention at this point. They had a short little win streak, I think, 2 weeks ago, but now it's kind of flipped with that. Obviously, you guys saw it, that net rating. Minus 16.1 is not good for anybody who's new around here. So, Sixers, though, they ranked 21st in the NBA net rating over that same span with a minus 5.1. So they're a little bit better. Not great, but they've been playing better. They got a couple W's against the Cavaliers, one snooze fest and one banger of a game. They've been able to play a little bit better over the last 10, and hopefully that can carry on into this one. I'm not too sure what the score is, but we'll give you guys an update after I go through this. But the Pacers, they rank 30th in offensive rating. On the season, they're scoring just 108 points per game per 100 possessions. That's horrible. They are not good offensively, kind of like I was speaking about a minute ago. They're just overall not a great team, and when you're forcing, Matherin's in and out of the lineup. A lot of guys have been in and out of the lineup too. The injury bug has happened for the Pacers. But when you put so much pressure on Siakam and Nembhard to do the majority of the work, bro, it gets kind of tedious. Like the way that they score the ball is not necessarily, in flow of the offense. It's very ISO heavy. Pascal's a very ISO heavy guy. He gets his points at the top of the nail. Nembhard, same way. Pick and roll ISOs, quick dribble drives. And I just feel like Tyrese just made them go, bro. So I feel like they really miss him on the offensive end. The Sixers, on the other hand, though, they rank 14th in offensive rating this year. They're scoring 114.7 points per game per 100 possessions. The 76ers are also 6-4 over the last 10, and the Pacers are 4-6. So kind of flip-flopped on the record side. But yeah, this should be a good game. Great Eastern Conference matchup. I feel like these teams are low-key rivals. It's kind of a little rivalry game, but obviously, the Pacers aren't full go with Halliburton, but we'll have to see. I'm probably going with the Sixers. I feel like if you got Edgecombe and Maxey, them as a duo, they've been averaging almost 50 points a game between the two of them. So I gotta take the Sixers, man. What about you?
Yeah, same. I mean, like you said, Pacers have not been playing the greatest, so I got to go with the hotter team. The team that has young talent, Tyrese Maxey. All NBA type of season. So I gotta go
Yeah,
with them
yeah,
as
yeah,
well,
yeah.
bro.
Respect. I like that. This next one was at 6:30, I think, about an hour and a half ago, but it was the Suns versus Nets. Nets are at home. The Suns have listed Devin Booker, Jalen Green, and AJ Bouye as game time decisions, so hopefully they ended up playing. The Nets are missing Zaire Williams, Haywood Highsmith, and MPJ. So no Michael Porter Jr. for the Nets in this one. Kind of not good. Not a good way to start it off. But storylines for this game, man. The Suns rank fourth in the NBA in defensive rating over the course of the season. They're allowing just 112 points per game per 100 possessions. I feel like the Suns don't get a ton of credit. They've been the darlings of this NBA season, bro. I mean, we
Mm-hmm.
didn't expect them to be seventh in the West. I know the Grizzlies didn't expect that either when they traded all those picks and got that Suns one, expecting it to be a five-star value. It doesn't look to be the case. The Suns have outplayed what we thought they would be. I think Dylan Brooks, Jalen Green being hurt obviously is one thing, but when you have Dylan Brooks, Devin Booker, AJ Bouye, Gillespie, all these guys who play really well together, what's his face, Royce O'Neal,
Mm-hmm.
that's the makings of a good team. And I think they've shown up, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and hence why they're fourth in the NBA in defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of speaks for itself.
Mm-hmm.
The Nets ranked 24th in the NBA in defensive rating over that same span, allowing 116.9 points per 100 possessions. So they've been slowing down a little bit. We talked about the Nets 2 weeks ago, how they were on that little winning streak. I think, like you said, they came back down to earth. I think that's what you're saying. They're going to come back down to earth. The Nets aren't looking to win too many games, and I think for them, just having blemishes on the year where you can look back and say, yeah, our defense was good here. That's what's most important for the Nets. They're not going to be a good defensive team on the year. So that's that. The Suns are 10-5 over their last 15 games and currently ranked seventh in the West. Like I said earlier, they got a 25-17 record. So they've been outplaying expectations as far as where we thought they would be at this course of the season. Brooklyn is 5-10 over their last 15 games and currently ranks 13th in the East. So they're 12-28. Brooklyn's about right where CJ and I thought. Yeah, this should be a good matchup, though. I feel like it's one of the more underrated games we had on the slate. I'm going to go with the Suns, though, even though they're on the road. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
they can get it done, especially if Devin Booker ends up playing. and obviously Jalen Green. That would be really sick. I haven't really seen him on the court too much, but D Book goes, Dylan Brooks, Gillespie. Give me the Suns, baby.
Yeah,
Phoenix.
I'm right there with you too, bro. I think the Suns, like you said, have been the darlings this season. I didn't expect them to be this good, and I'm pretty sure everyone
Nah.
else didn't either. So the fact they're kind of clicking on all cylinders, that continuity that we always like to bring up with these teams, I think it's just a perfect pairing with all the players that they have. Just Dylan Brooks has really kind of shifted the culture in a sense, you know what I mean? And Devin Booker
Hey,
playing at a great level. And just like you say, all of the Gillespie, all those players that you have mentioned, bro, they just are all playing very well right now. So I got to go with the Suns as well.
I like it, bro. I like it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Going into the next game that tipped off at 7, we got the Celtics versus Pistons. That's a banger. That's probably my game of the night for sure.
Game of the day. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Celtics are missing Jason Tatum and Ja or what Minot?
Minot, I think.
Minot. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Josh Minot. Yeah, or yeah, Josh Minot. Are listed. Or my bad. Peyton Pritchard and Boucher.
Chris Boucher.
Chris Boucher, yeah, are listed as a game time decision. The Pistons have no injured players listed, so shout out to that. That's always a good thing to see on
We don't say that
we don't
much.
say that yeah, we don't say that much at all, honestly. But some storylines for this game, bro. Over the last 15 games, the Celtics and the Pistons have a combined record of 21-9. Obviously, both of these teams firing on all cylinders. We talked about Celtics, even though ZD's a Lakers fan. We talk about them still and the way that they've been playing, and
Show love.
obviously the Pistons. These are arguably the best teams in the East. You know what I mean? So seeing
East,
that,
yeah.
I think it's just kind of goes to show 21-9 combined record over the last 30. So shout out to that. The Celtics are 11-4, and the Pistons are 10-5. So. Over their last 5 games, the Pistons ranked first in the NBA in defensive rating, allowing just 93.5 points per game per 100 possessions, which is incredible.
That's
That's
gnarly.
insane. That's wild. Um, Over that same span, Boston ranks 12th in offensive rating, scoring 117.4 points per game per 100 possessions. Both the Celtics
Okay.
and Detroit shoot 47% from the field. So this is like I said, game of the night for sure, bro. Just two of the best teams
I
in the
like it.
East going head to head. They're in Detroit. Celtics versus Pistons, bro. Oh man, I think I'm going with the Pistons, bro. I think Cade is
I'm
gonna.
gonna take the C's.
You taking the C's?
Yeah, Jalen
Surprise!
Brown. Yeah, I
Surprising.
know, right? But
I know that hurt for you to
give me
say.
the Celtics. Yeah, but give me the Celtics on the road.
Okay.
I feel like Jalen Brown, like all-star starter, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Need to check that.
I think
But
so. I'm pretty sure.
point, yeah, I'm pretty sure. But point is, hey, balling out, Peyton Pritchard goes. I feel like I just I think Jalen Duren said something that was cool. He said Sports Illustrated that Cade Cunningham was like his point guard for forever. Hopes he never leaves Detroit. They got a lot of camaraderie there. I just feel like it's going to be one of those games for the C's. They hit some threes.
Threes.
I've been shooting a
Sam
lot more of
Hauser
them.
the other day,
Hauser, the
10
10
for
threes.
10 for
Yeah,
21,
so
whatever. Yeah.
getting them up. So I like that. I like when they play with a quick pace as well. I think Missoula has those boys running and Derek White's involved. Yeah, give me the Celtics. It hurts me to say it, but I feel like they get it done. And I feel like Joe Missoula will be like, this is a big game.
Yeah.
Like,
No, yeah, definitely. You got
let's
to prove a
go.
point. I think it's like I said. I
Right.
feel like they've been counted out this whole season. So yeah, I like
No
it. I like
doubt.
the pick, but I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna ride with Cade, Motorcade. You know what I'm saying? I think he's gonna have a great game.
Motorcade.
Put up some crazy numbers. I think Jalen Duren's gonna make a difference as well. I think them not having a big is gonna kind of cause a lot of havoc and kind of be the X factor for them in a sense. We know what Cade's going to do, but I think Duren's going to have a pretty good game. So I'm rocking with the Pistons this time. But head into the next game, bro. Another 7 o'clock tip off. We got the Heat versus Warriors. The Heat are missing Terry Rozier, Tyler Hero, and Davion Mitchell. Jaime Jaquez is listed as a game time decision, and the Warriors are missing Guy Santos, DeAnthony Melton, and Seth Curry. Draymond Green is also listed as a game time decision. Some storylines of this game. Over their last 3 games, the Warriors ranked first in the NBA net rating with a plus 18.5.
They're
That
balling. They're
balling
balling.
out. Steph Curry. I mean, we'll talk about it. All star game starter. So shout out to that.
Of
The
course.
Warriors also rank first in offense rating over that span, scoring 127.9 points per game per 100 possessions. So, like we said, firing on all cylinders. I think it incredible. I mean, I feel like
Minga demanding a trade.
yeah,
Hey, bro, they don't really need. I think the Warriors are good where they are. I don't know if they need him.
yeah,
Kind of like you're saying, they've been
no,
firing all cylinders with him getting DMPs.
yeah,
So he's like, fuck it, I'm going to get out of here. And Steph Curry, right?
yeah.
I mean, you saw Colin Sexton guarding him out of bounds. He's getting to 30 fairly easily, still at this age. It's just good. It's good basketball, man. I've enjoyed watching the Warriors play over the last five,
Hmm.
10 games. Not the
Not the
whole
whole
year.
season.
They've
Yeah.
been up and I was gonna say that we did our contender pretender episode. I think that came out today, but
Hmm.
that's the real Warriors. They're like 500,
Right.
basketball, but they're playing
They're
really well
playing,
right
yeah,
now.
really well right now. Yeah, yeah. The Heat are still ranked first in pace in the NBA and defense. Or defeated the Thunder in their last game, 122 to 120. We talked about that earlier. I gave my 2 cents on that game, but the Heat ranked
Hmm.
seventh in the NBA in offense rating over their last three, scoring 120.6 per game points per game per 100 possessions. I feel like this is gonna be a low key a pretty good game,
A good one.
honestly, because like we just said, the Warriors have been offensively best game over their last 3 games, or best offensive rating over the last 3 games, and the Heat, just the pace that they play at. I think it kind of plays into the Warriors type of play style, though.
I was
Obviously,
gonna
with the 3
say,
point
yeah,
shooting, both not the greatest on the defensive side of the ball. So I think it's just gonna be whatever the over is. I'm going for that. I feel like any game with the Heat
yeah.
at this point, you got to probably take the over. Uh, Man, I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I'm rocking with the Warriors, bro. I think I got
I
that.
think I'm gonna go with them too.
Yeah, I think I got the
They're on the road.
Chef Curry going crazy. You know what I'm saying? Cooking it up after getting that All Star game started. I think he has has that fire underneath him right now. Just kind of
Oh yeah.
prove a point. I heard we'll probably talk about it later, but Ant Edwards not getting that starter, so I think he's gonna silence those a little bit of the critics that are out there. But I'm rocking with the Warriors, bro. I think this is gonna be a good game. But the Heat kind of play into the way that the Warriors and love to play. So I think it's going to be a great matchup. High score. But I got the Warriors here. They're home. I think it's gonna be rocking in there.
I like it, bro. I feel I'm with you, man. The Warriors have been hooping, so you got to give credit to them, and hopefully Jonathan Kuminga can find himself a home.
Mm,
Right at
right.
this point, I think he can add value to a team that's looking for him. Hopefully, they're able to get some value back, and Mike Dunleavy can continue to build towards a championship in a falling dynasty. But let's go into our three-man weave storylines of the week. We're going to talk about the Hornets, man. They've been on fire, bro. Over the last 10 games, the Hornets have shown clear signs of offensive growth, looking far more connected and confident as a unit compared to earlier stretches of the season. The Hornets ranked second in offensive rating over that span over the last 10 games, scoring 122.9 points per 100 possessions. So they've been getting to it, like I said. Spoke about them kind of in the Lakers segment for a second, but they are obviously killing us from deep, getting a lot of paint touches. Everybody seems to touch the ball, and they're playing really fluidly on offense. That's really important. Obviously, the Lakers have a great offense too, so I know something about that. The way that we play, everybody touches the ball, everybody touches the paint. People feel like when they come on the court, they know they're going to get the ball, which makes them feel good. A lot of teams, they play through Steph Curry, right? Like Guy Santos may not get the ball a ton, and he just has to be cool with that playing on that roster. But I know on Charlotte, it's more free, a lot of 5 out. Everybody's touching the ball, so they've looked really good, man. This is the thing that shocks me, though. They've ranked first in overall net rating over that same span over their last 10 games with a plus 10.9 net rating. So that means they've been playing defense, which I'll get into in a second. But that's what shocks me most with Charlotte is whenever they guard. I think you and I both know we were talking about it, bro. If your team can't play defense, you're not gonna win games. And
Mhm.
that's just the case. And Charlotte is not a great defensive team over the course of the season. I think they're bottom third in the NBA in defensive rating for the whole year. When
Mhm.
we take the snapshot right now, they've been playing extremely well. So wanted to shout them out. But LaMelo Ball has caught fire over the stretch. He's averaging 19 points per game, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds over this span. He had a recent standout performance, obviously, against the Lakers when he hit 9 threes, scored 33 points in that one. Brandon Miller and Concanup are also doing their thing too, bro. Brandon Miller is averaging 22.4 points per game and 4.7 rebounds on 45% shooting from the field and 41% from three over their last 10. And Concanup is averaging 18.3 points per game and 5.7 rebounds on 50% from the field and 45% from deep, bro. Like,
Lights
you know what
out.
I'm saying?
Mhm.
That's lights out. I wouldn't be shocked to see him in the All Star weekend in the 3 point contest if he wants to.
Mhm.
But while their offenses look great, bro, on the defensive end is where the Hornets have really gained ground. The Hornets ranked ninth in defensive rating over the last 10. Um, they're also only allowing 112 points per 100 possessions, so they've been able to guard extremely well. As you know, Zion James, I think it's also Diabate getting defensive rebounds, being able to hit LaMelo Ball on outlet passes, and it just helps their offense whenever they hold teams to one shot. It's very good for Charlotte. They're also holding their opponents to 45% shooting during the stretch. So, got to talk highly of the Hornets. We haven't spoken about them. They have not had a storyline of the week
Mhm.
yet this year. And they deserve it right now, man. They're playing extremely well. I think they're 5-5, so it's not like a win-loss thing per se, but you can see it whenever you watch the Hornets. And of course, their announcer's awesome.
Mhm.
It just makes it really fun. They've played really well, and wanted to give them their props. I feel like you guys should keep an eye out this week specifically for that. See
Mhm.
how they play going into All Star Weekend.
Yeah. No, like you said, bro. I mean, they've gotten the best of both of our teams recently, so I think it kind of goes to show, teams that are in the playoffs in the Western Conference, they're able to compete with them, beat them. I feel like just what they've been didn't they beat the Nuggets as well yesterday or
So they
like a
had it,
couple
yes,
days ago?
sir.
So
Yeah, a couple days. They've had a couple key wins
key
versus some really
wins,
good
really
teams.
good teams in the
So
Western Conference, bro. So like you said, I think it's they're kind of not figuring it out at this point in the season for them. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's a long season up to this point. They haven't been the greatest, but the fact that they have, taking a little turn, they're kind of figuring out how they can be successful. Like you said, it's really on the defensive side. I feel like we know what they can do offensively. They have great scorers, shooters, LaMelo Ball, you know what I mean? He create for everyone, but it's just what they've been able to do on the defense side of the ball. I think that's what's really been
right.
the thing that kind of has turned at this point of the year, turn their season around a little bit. You know what I mean? And it begs the question, right? Can they make that push for the play in? I think they can, bro. I think that they're at a good spot. The Eastern Conference is very weak. You
They
know what I
want
mean?
to as well.
And it's something, I was bringing up, in the offseason files before the season started. They have a talented roster, like didn't expect Concanupple to be the type of player he is
Oh
at this
no,
very
no,
moment,
no.
in such a
It's
quick
10 out of
time.
10
But
pick.
that's looking like a great pick. Brandon Miller, when he's hit the times that he's been on the court and he's been healthy, he's looked incredible. Against us, he kind of torched us, and I think it goes to show, you don't have to always trade your best player to try to get another guy
Trey
in the
Young,
abs
yeah,
right. You have a good roster, a good foundation. I think it's just figuring out how y'all can be great on both sides of the ball, and they're slowly
totally.
figuring that out. So I think they can, bro. I think they can compete for that playing spot. Like I said, with the Eastern Conference being as weak as it is this year, this is the year for them to do that. And I think we might have talked about it. They're in that weird situation where they can benefit from either or having, not making the playoffs, potentially getting, a high draft pick, or, making that play in, competing for a playoff spot to try to get that experience for the young guys. I would say personally, that's probably what, I would try to compete for. I mean, there's no real
Yeah,
reason for them to
same.
try to get, a
Why
high
would you
draft
not?
pick, just because, they've been getting top 5 picks for the last 4 or 5 years, whatever it is. So I think getting that playoff experience for them, getting that under their belt, just kind of putting those guys in that type of environment, it kind of shifts their mentality, kind of see what that like a playoff atmosphere game looks like. So I think competing for that play-in spot is probably their goal for this season. And I think they could very well get to that spot. So excited. I'm glad that they're doing good right now, and kind of didn't project them to do that, but I think at the beginning of the season I said that they could
Yeah, the
definitely
over.
be the play in that play in spot. So the fact that
Yeah,
they are kind
get
of
the
in the
over.
conversation for that is super dope, because I think the Hornets, they've been doing
Because their
well.
win total was like 32, bro.
Yeah.
Like low key kind of disrespectful. So like they'll probably end up winning 38 games.
Hmm.
They'll probably fly over their number, and like you're saying, Concanapple and LaMelo, and it's just like more like Diabate, right? And
Right.
James and Trey Mann and like Sexton.
Kyle
Like guys who are
Brenner.
not, yeah, Kalkbrenner, like you're saying, guys who, if you're not a avid watcher of the NBA, you don't really know who those guys are, but that's why they've been winning, man. I think putting those pieces, like you said, getting the reps and the experience and the maturity playing in the playoffs and
Hmm.
then
Even that
translating that to
Colin
next year.
Sexton pickup, bro, that was a huge one. I think I told you
Oh
that
yeah, that
yesterday.
was
Like,
great.
I think bringing him in, like you said, the way that he was guarding Steph, that's the type of player that they needed. Because they are, kind of flashy, throwing lobs.
They
Lamelo kind
don't
of cooking.
guard.
They don't really guard.
Yeah, they
So
don't.
having a someone of Colin Sexton's caliber, good player, but he's gonna compete on both
He
sides of the
wants to
ball.
guard.
He's gonna
Yeah,
want to guard their best player. So I think that was a great pickup for them. I think that's one of
great
the
point.
underrated
Yeah,
pickups
that's a
for
great
in
point.
the season. So shout out to the Hornets, bro. Showing love to all the teams. If you do good, we're gonna show some love to you. So I guess going into the next story of the week, bro. We got the
Yeah.
NBA All Star Game starters just got announced. The All Star 2026 in LA. On the Eastern side, Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Bucks leads the way with yet another All Star nod, alongside Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, Cade Cunningham, and Tyrese Maxey. Their selection reflects strong individual seasons and powerful contributions to their team success. Anything you want to say? Any snubs?
Snubs or
Any
anything. Yeah, I like this list a lot. I think for me, Maxi, right,
right?
starting,
Hundred
not
percent.
surprised to be honest, or Brunson. But Tyrese Maxey has been awesome to see from Garland, Texas. Those who don't know, from our state, got to show love to him. He's been awesome,
Mm-hmm.
getting 30. I think he's playing the most minutes
Minutes.
too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for like we were talking about the Sixers earlier, playing against the Pacers, him and Edgecombe have just been awesome.
Incredible,
So,
yeah.
and hopefully we can clip that up and show him some love because I don't think we've had a Maxi short yet, but
Mhm.
he's been cool. Yeah, no, I like the list, bro. And like you said, Jalen Brown is on there as well, like I said earlier. So, him being the starter is dope too. I think me and you knew that without Tatum in the picture, he's going to get to 30.
Right,
But I just didn't see it happening like this on
right.
this type of efficiency
Hmm.
and with this two-way play, right? Just doing it on both sides of the ball. That's what I have to say. I think Giannis is Giannis, Brunson is Brunson.
Brunson,
Or I think JB or Jalen hasn't started though, right?
Jalen Brown,
Brunson
Jalen Brown. I thought he
or he did
started last year.
last year.
I think
Okay,
so.
bet, bet. Then yeah, I think we covered the first time starters. Then
Yeah, yeah. I was about to say. I think no
everybody
snubs
else
for
started.
me. Obviously, like
Yeah, yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like Eastern Conference is very top heavy, anyways. And I mean, these are the best guys in the Eastern Conference. So no, nothing to debate about that
Fans got
starter.
that right.
Fans got that right for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, because the fans do starters, so like
yeah.
really not up to the coaches, unless it's like a Zaza Pachulia situation where like he
It's
gets
like
voted in and they're like,
right.
okay,
Right. Going on to the Western Conference, the Western Conference starters are headlined by sharpshooting maestro Stephen Curry, superstars Luka Doncic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a perennial MVP threat Nikola Jokic, and rising generational talent Victor Wembanyama. Uh, this group
Wemby.
this group blends experience scoring, elite playmaking, and league-leading efficiency, setting the stage for a thrilling All-Star weekend. Um, I mean, let's talk about it, bro. Do you think Ant got snubbed?
Yeah, but it's because of Wemby, and Wemby's gonna be, you know, they could have been there instead of Yoke, right? But Yoke might end up going somehow or something.
Mm,
I don't. I heard he's like on the court.
yeah.
Did you hear that?
No, yeah, I did hear that. Yeah, that's crazy.
I didn't think he would be back this soon. So that's good for him. But uh, yeah, going back to Ant, I don't know. I don't know. I think Ant has played really well this year. Had 55,
Five.
man, against the Spurs. So um, he has that toe infection right now. I know he's been on the injury report a lot because I see it on Sleeper.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like I think he's had a better year, and if it were up to me and not the fans, it would probably be Ant over Wemby. And Wemby comes off the bench, like Wemby. I've thought about this. He almost got hurt in that Bucks game when he bumped knees with Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
He might be somebody you want to he's not a bench player, but you could bring him off the bench and just play him 35 minutes, and he could win a lot of six men of the year. Maybe protect him a little bit, not have him starting the game, and just get his feet under him. See what he can do. But at the end of the day, if he's not really a starter, and Ant is, and he's been playing the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta give the nod to Ant. So yeah, I think he got snubbed, and somebody always does. It's not like it don't happen every year, and
Right.
there's going to be people who make it. And LeBron isn't starting in 21 years.
Yeah,
So
I saw that. Yeah.
we said that on our last step when we did the All-Star one, but it's just crazy. It's final now, but yeah, a lot of changes coming. Um, and what I mean by change is the generations. So
Mm-hmm.
like Wembanyama is going to be here
Yeah.
for the next,
Oh, he's gonna
like
be.
Ant will be here for the next. Yeah, so
Mhm.
like that, you're gonna have to battle for these spots, man. They're few and far between.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a. Obviously they, StatMuse posted it. It was like this player on the left is an all-star starter. This player isn't, and it was Steph and Ant, obviously. But like we said, the starters are based off all fan votes. So of course Steph Curry's gonna get that nod, and same with Wemby. You know what I mean? Like obviously he's great. I'm not taking that away from him, but it is a fan vote, and I mean shit. I'm surprised
Yeah.
Ant didn't make it, honestly, with how much people love him. But of
Yeah,
course,
no, for sure.
someone's gonna get snubbed. Western Conference, obviously, it's a little harder to decide those because there's so many great players in that conference. But if we're just basing off of stats and team success and this and that, like of course I think Ant should have been it, but I think they did it right, bro. I think it makes sense. The players that they have on this for the starters, it just goes to show how deep the Western Conference is. That's really all I got to say. But Ant's gonna make an All-Star game. Y'all don't have to worry about that. I mean, it's a given, but of course he would want that starting spot, but it's hard, bro. It's tough out in the West. You know what I mean? It's not as easy.
Yeah,
If he were on the Eastern Conference, he probably for sure would have made it. But I feel like that's the type of conversations we gotta have. There's always gonna be a snub. There's gonna be someone left off.
right.
Even when they drop the All Star, the full list of players that are gonna make the All Star game. We're gonna be talking about that. Someone is gonna get left off, but it's part of it, man. It sucks,
Exactly.
but there's only so many spots that are gonna be able to get filled, and I think it just the league is in a good spot, so can't really complain. But yeah, no, I like it, bro. Your SGA, I think it's his fourth straight All Star game. I think third straight starter or second straight starter.
Yeah,
Yeah, so doing
third,
his thing. Um, God, I'm
third
I'm
straight.
happy for that, bro. He was gonna make it, but I think it's just seeing it. You know what I mean? I think it's dope. So shout out to that. I think the fans did it right. I'm not gonna lie. Steph Curry's Steph. I mean, you know what he's gonna do.
Right.
He
And
was.
like, yeah, nobody's gonna be. I'm not mad at that. Like, and we watch basketball all the time, and Steph's been in and out. Like, you could put Ant there, but I'm not mad at that. And I think it'll be a good game, bro. Like these games will be good, and the world will have some trouble like against Team USA, and guys will actually go out there and compete for a little bit. They're not
Mhm,
going to compete the whole time, but when the game matters to go to the championship or something, I bet you they're going to play. So
mhm,
excited for All Star Weekend. We'll probably be on stream. Hopefully, you guys will catch us, man, and come stop by, say what's up.
mhm. So, side note, side question, I guess. They announced the starters, so these are the players that are going to be the starters for the All Star game. But there's going to be the three teams, right? So
Yes, sir.
how are they going to decide who's on what team? Is it like a draft, or have they?
Nah, I think they might have captains, but I don't know if they're drafting. I'm honestly not too sure. It might. it might just be random. Like he might just get pulled out of a hat. I could see it being that too.
Right.
Where like, because if it was random and a team's really overpowered, then like you can't really say anything because it was a random draw. Like nobody really cares, you know.
I wonder if
But
they
I wonder.
okay, so Giannis, I'm thinking of international. Giannis, Luca, Shea, Wemby, Jokic. So did they was that something where you think they intentionally had to choose 5 international players to be starters?
No, I just think the game is international.
What cuz like let's say like they didn't have how would they decide who would be this? Like I'm a little confused
Well,
with the conference starters.
I
That's
think
why I'm
the start
confused.
the conference starters is for the accolade, like you're saying. So it's
Okay.
just for that. Like
Okay.
you said, like Shea made the All Star, or he's starting
3
3 years in a
straight.
row.
Right.
But like he's not gonna play on the West. He'll
Right.
play with
For
the
the
world.
yeah.
And to your point though, like let's say they're just all USA guys,
Right.
and Jokic was the only international guy, then they would have to find other guys to fill in the world team. But like Jokic would be a starter for his conference.
Uh-huh.
But I think the game is just international, bro. So we have Giannis, Wemby and Shea and Luca and Jokic. Like those are actually starters
Mhm.
for their conferences, but also so happen to be all on the same team.
Gotcha. Okay, interesting. That I just thought about because like like
Oh, that was dope.
we've never had this
Yeah,
before,
we
so
never
that's why
done
I
it.
was like,
Yeah,
did they intentionally have international players that were going to be starters,
it's
or
a great,
you know what I mean?
great
Because so
discourse. Yeah,
gotcha. Okay, interesting. So it's the accolade. It's your All Star game starter.
exactly. Yeah,
Gotcha.
like because I'm thinking about that too. Because it's even with oh, like the NBA, like it's like, oh, you know how like remember they do the patches and it's like, oh, however many years you made it. It's just so they know like, okay, you went to the All-Star game this year because who knows what the format will be.
Mm,
But like you were a starter for this year, whatever the format was.
got you.
You were starting. So I think
Gotcha.
it's just more of that. It's just more of for their pedigree, but it's confusing. But I think the actual format is dope, but
Yes.
the way they've set up the format is confusing.
Yeah. That's
I think they
why.
should have just had two rosters full of USA players, full of world players, and like if you were an all star, like bench player for the world, you may not be as good as the USA players, but you were still all star. I just think they should have done it with two full rosters.
Yeah, that's kind of why I was so confused because I'm like, okay, Eastern Conference, I get it, you're in the Eastern Conference, but like, like
They'll
you
probably
said,
do it next
what if
year.
it was all just USA
Yeah,
guys
because
and
what if you get all USA guys? So like that's what I'm thinking they'll do. They'll probably just split it to where it's just like USA kind of versus the world in the All Star
and
game.
you're a USA starter or a world starter, you know what I mean? That's
World star.
right. Got
Yeah,
you.
exactly. And so that'll give you a little bit more, like allowing marketing can make the starter for the world,
Right.
whereas he's probably not starting
On
in
the
general.
Nah, yeah, he's not starting.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to clear that up because I was confused on that. You know what I mean? I'm like, I get it having the obviously conferences, that's how you decide, but I didn't know if they were like
But yeah,
obligated
that's
to
dope, bro.
have 5 like
Yeah,
work,
yeah,
you know what I
yeah, yeah.
mean?
Like forced to.
Yeah, to like solidify those position or the
Yeah.
slots for the starters. So gotcha. Okay. So it's just more of like a accolade, like you're an all-star game starter.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool.
Because I think what Silver's doing is like he's trying to switch up and find the format that's going to work. And we've spoken about it on Three Man, but like the target score that worked for a year or two,
Hmm.
getting to 24, like cats like that, and then they stop playing. So I think he's just trying to find what can work. And yeah, it's been a crapshoot, but we working on it, man. We getting there, and yeah, I think this will be a good year for the All Star game. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm super excited for it, bro. I think this is hopefully I don't bite my tongue on this and look back at it like that All Star game
Yeah,
was whack. Yeah, but
yeah, like
I think
oh
this
god,
is probably gonna be one of the more competitive ones. Hopefully.
I agree. Yeah, bro, and at the end of the day, when you toss the ball up and you're playing like with the for your country, I think it's a little different.
Mm,
And I know like the world guys, especially like Wemby will go. I think Shea will probably go a little bit.
mm,
I don't expect Luka or Jokic to play very hard, but that's okay because the majority of guys on the world will play a little bit harder, like a Denny Avdia.
right.
We'll see, man. We'll see. I think this is like it's a perfect bridge kind of time right now. That's why we're doing the Rushmore, right? Like we got a little break. We'll start doing some more fun segments, and hopefully viewers can follow along, watch the pull up on us when we do the stream.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, bro. But you ready to do your Mount Rushmore, my man, and
I'm
kind of break it down? I think you're gonna get two honorable mentions, so six people.
okay.
But obviously, for those who don't know, Mount Rushmore is a landmark in the U.S. with famous presidents on it. There's four of them. So there will be four players. We are going to do it by position. We're going to be doing centers first. Centers are fairly a little easy if you know what you're talking about. However, it'll still be a great conversation. We'll have a great discourse about it. Lists are not the same, so
Yeah.
FYI for the
Yeah.
people. But I'll break mine down first. Have you do your number one, and then I'll do my number one. Then you do yours. Okay.
Okay.
My first guy on Mount Rushmore for centers is none other than Wilt Chamberlain, man. Our Lakers own two-time NBA champion, 66-67, and then also 71-72, four-time NBA MVP, Finals MVP, 13-time NBA All-Star, NBA All-Star Game MVP, seven-time All-NBA First Team. Has the record for the most points in a game. Has the record for the most points in a season. I think holds the record for the most records in the NBA. Just a
Ridiculous.
absolute freak. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he's an alien before Wemby,
Mm-hmm.
and not Wemby, what Will Chamberlain was able to do. Seeing the footage that we do have, right, the black and white, gets the ball, does a post move, just puts it up against the plumber,
Yep.
dunks it. Like it looks
Laying it up
so
like right above the rim and yeah.
right. It looks so fake, bro. But I gotta give him his props because he is this dominant.
I
And
agree.
I didn't see him, but I know he's such a unicorn and such a great player that he was really doing stuff like this. And if I got the opportunity to watch him play, I'm no doubt in my mind I'll have him on this list.
Mm-hmm.
I think you also got to give him credit too because he is a two-time NBA champion. I know Jerry West won that second one. Will did his thing, but I know Jerry was also cooking for him as well. But yeah, man, I got to give it to Will. Just one of the most dominant figures that we've had in North American sports history. And at 7 foot, bro, the amount of I think he also he's grabbed like 50 rebounds in a game before. Some of
Are
his records
ridiculous,
are
bro.
godly,
It's like a
bro.
my
So
career type of thing. NBA my
right,
you know
bro,
what I
it's like
mean?
a 2K,
2K, yeah.
creative player. So I got to give him his credit, bro. And he's the number one guy on my list, the best
Got you.
center ever.
Got you. Got you. Man, number one for me, this might be a hot take. I think, a lot of people, might agree with me. So, a lot of the old heads might not, but number one for me, bro, Nikola Jokic. We'll list off of the accolades:
Mm,
NBA champion, NBA Finals MVP, three-time MVP, eight-time NBA All-Star, five-time All NBA First Team, two-time All NBA Second Team, NBA First Team All Rookie, highest PER in a single season at 32.9, currently breaking his own record with 36 PER in this season, and highest PER in a career, 28.9. Man, I had to put Jokic number one, bro, just because I think
yeah,
what
that
what
because of
he
that.
because of that, literally, but just what he's done for the position. You know what I mean? I think he is
Right,
the greatest offensive center I've ever seen. The fact that he puts
no
up
doubt.
30-point triple doubles like it's a regular feat. We see that on the box score. We watch that and just kind of expect it from him at this point. And I think with him, why I put him so high is just because I think he revolutionized the position, and I think that's something for me.
No doubt.
What Mount Rushmore's like, you have to be so impactful on that position that you kind of change the way the league and a lot of players are trying to, a lot of teams are trying to get players of the Nikola Jokic pedigree that you can, you know, give it to him. He could run the offense. He could score at will and pass it, get other people involved, rebound. Obviously, defensively, not the greatest, but just what he does on the offense side of the ball just impacts the game so much that I had to put him up here in that finals run that they had, and the fact that he's won 3 MVPs already kind of speaks for itself. I think he put he put Denver he got Denver their first championship in franchise history, and I think that
Doubt.
goes so much further than a lot of players, but had to put Nikola Jokic, bro. He's definitely on my Mount Rushmore, bro.
Yes, sir. Yeah, dude, and he's actually the number two guy on my list, so I'll just kind of carry over your point. He read off the accolades already, but Jokic is number two behind Wilt for me because CJ is exactly right. Revolutionized the NBA game. Even forget the center position ever,
Ever. Yeah, I agree.
like with all positions, and it's I think his efficiency speaks for itself. He is one of the best players on earth right now and will go down as one of the best players in history. Probably make the NBA 100 anniversary list. He wasn't eligible for the other ones. Obviously, like the 35, 50, 75, he wasn't really hooping. But now he's rounded out into form. Obviously, three-time MVP, competing for a fourth one probably next season. Obviously, went down this year. But yeah, you got to give your hats off to Nikola Jokic and what he's done for the game of basketball. And he's the best passing center of all time, without a doubt. He's gonna finish with the most assists by a center ever. So we got to give that in there. He'll probably have a lot of records, man. He might end up breaking the triple double record too, which is held by Russ.
Hmm.
But Jokic does that nightly, and he's been doing that for years and years and years. So got to give him the number two spot on my Mount Rushmore as well, CJ. So he's not number one, but he's close.
He's there. He's right there, brother. Kind of going to
Yeah,
my second one, bro. Uh, I think any of these guys you could place them anywhere. In my opinion, I think this is just more so for me and kind of like what I was saying with Jokic, how he
personally, yeah.
changed the game. I think this man changed the game as well for the position. Shaquille O'Neal, bro. 4-time NBA champ, 3-time NBA Finals MVP, NBA MVP, 15-time NBA All Star, 3-time All Star Game MVP, 8-time All NBA first team, 2-time All NBA second
Jeez.
team, 4-team All NBA third team, 3-time All Defensive second team, NBA Rookie of the Year, and NBA All Rookie first team, 2-time NBA scoring champ. Man, what more can you say, bro? It's the Diesel. You know what I mean? I think what he
It's the
was able to
diesel.
do revolutionized the game. I mean, he was a man amongst boys, just kind of dominating it, in the 2000s or 90s to the 2000s when he was,
Yeah.
playing. They had to have just extra bodies on the NBA roster to try to stop him, to foul him. You know what I mean? Just
Oh, no doubt.
having someone try to eat up the fouls and
Hack a Shaq, baby.
prevent him from dominating all game. And like I said, listed off all those. Obviously, was able to get that three-peat with the Lakers and Kobe and what they were able to do, and then kind of go into the Heat, getting the chip with D Wade. It just revolutionary, bro. Like I said, not the most skilled offensively, but just his dominance. I think that is something that a lot of people probably might overlook because maybe they didn't watch him, or these players now are whatever doing more on the offensive side, and he wasn't the greatest defensively. And I think the thing with him is just the work ethic, right? I feel like if he had that mentality of just like wanting to go in the season, get better every single year, he would easily be number one. It's just kind of the fact that he didn't need to do that and he was still dominating everybody, the whole league. Like I said, it's just, goes to show, bro, just how he revolutionized the game, and just you needed big men to try to stop him at any time of the game. So, like I said,
Yeah.
bro, Shaq, it's the Diesel, bro. I growing up and stuff, I'm not a Lakers fan, so I didn't really like him and how dominant they were, the dynasty. But taking a look back at it, just seeing how legendary he is, bro. He has to be on the
Oh,
on the
he's
Mount
so
Rushmore.
no doubt. If you leave Shaq off this list, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Great take. I like it. Shaquille O'Neal, man. But number three, man, on my Mount Rushmore, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. This is a guy we have not spoken about yet. This dude could be number one on a lot of people's lists.
Mm-hmm.
Read off some of the accolades: six-time NBA champion, two-time NBA Finals MVP, six-time NBA MVP. My goodness, six times. Think about
Six
that.
times, bro.
19-time NBA All-Star. 10-time All NBA first team, 5-time All NBA second team, 5-time All NBA defensive first team, 6-time All NBA defensive second team, NBA Rookie of the Year, All NBA Rookie first team, 2-time scoring champ, and the second most total points in NBA history now, obviously behind LeBron James, but 38,387. Obviously, top 10 in career points per game. all the advanced stats. Obviously, Kareem is one of the most dominant big mans we've had in this game. For me, bro, it's the hook shot
I
though.
was just gonna
I think
say that.
he created a shot,
Yeah,
kind of like Dirk did with the Dirk
fade away.
fadeaway. He created a shot that people utilize today. Protection over like it was very. It's the sky hook, and he did a lot of damage with that for my
Hmm.
team. Specifically the Lakers. Goggles Kareem is just a legendary figure for us, and his jersey will forever hang proudly in the rafters. But Kareem, man, I mean, just a gentle giant. I'd say outside of Hakeem, probably the best footwork for a big man. Him and Jokic and Hakeem, probably some of the best footwork that you can find in a center. And I just feel like Kareem doesn't get a ton of credit outside of the fact that he can score the ball, but was a great passer as well, and obviously a great rebounder. But yeah, playing with Showtime, getting back, changing his name, Lou Alcindor,
Hmm.
just a kind of the opposite of Shaq, honestly. Very straight line,
Hmm.
wanted to win, always wanted to practice, just wanted to get better. And I think it shows in his accolades, man. He has a long, long list of things that he's done. So shout out Kareem Abdul-Jabbar coming in at number 3 on my list. I feel like that's a perfect place for him right now.
I'm right there with you, bro. I have Kareem at 3 as well. I mean, it's really all everything you said. The only thing that I'll kind of add on is, you said the hook shot, right? That was going to be my main point, and just the fact that we haven't really seen anyone do that since. You know what I mean? I feel like
Right, not like that.
people have tried to replicate it, you know what I mean? But that was literally his move and it was unguardable. You know what I mean? So I think it just goes to show, like I said, Mount Rushmore for me, I'm looking at it as revolutionizing the game, like I've been saying, and he did that clearly.
Yes.
Being the top scorer all time in the NBA, a lot of people didn't think that record was going to be broken for the longest. Obviously, LeBron broke it a couple years ago, but at that time, everyone was like, "Nah, no way, no one's going to break that record."
No
And
possible. Right,
and I
right.
think that kind of goes to show just the level he was at. You know what I mean? And I want to bring up what he was able to do in Milwaukee as well. That was their first NBA championship. Him and Big O before going to LA and kind of building that dynasty up. He also got one in Milwaukee. So I think he was able to do it at different points of his career. Early on, early stages with the Bucks, and then he was able to go to LA and build up the Showtime Lakers,
Even
bro.
in
So,
college, I
oh,
mean, three-time
and
national
champion.
UCLA, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think even in high school, he
High
had
school,
4 state titles, if I'm not
just a
mistaken,
just a
4 in a
just a
row. So
winner,
since
bro.
he was a freshman, yeah, just a winner, bro. Just a legend everywhere he goes. I mean, all of us, if we saw Kareem outside, we know who that is,
Oh,
man.
what? Yeah, like you said, the
Yes,
goggles,
sir.
bro.
The goggles, yeah, just so trademark. And I had did some cool things with. I was in shout out ChatGPT 5 Plus, but I was in the visual. You guys can't see it, but I was able to render the Mount Rushmores that we have. So
Yeah, these are dope.
it looks really
It
cool on
shit
the
looks
outline. Yeah, it looks really cool.
that looks dope.
Kareem's got his little goggles on and stuff.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's dope. But yeah, moving on to number 4, man. It's a guy you already said, Shaquille O'Neal. I just got to speak on his Lakers time. I think him and Kobe, unfortunately, RIP Mama, obviously, everybody loves Kobe. But I remember when he passed on TNT, they had like a special, I think it was like the whole day, actually. They ran a special kind of going through Kobe's life, whatever. And he had said, the one thing that he wished he did more was talk to him and be a better teammate. It's crazy they were able to win championships with that fractured relationship. I felt like Shaq was jealous, and that happens to the best of us. But outside of that, just the type of character he is as a person, he's always giving money to the homeless. Just a really good person outside of basketball. Obviously, what he did for Orlando was great, but winning those championships for the Lakers, man, got to give him his love. I feel like if he's not on your Mount Rushmore, it's like, bro, you don't really know. He was breaking backboards and stuff,
bro.
bro. So you gotta give him his credit. Obviously, CJ went through all the accolades earlier, but yeah, Shaquille O'Neal, bro, just what a player. Just couldn't hit a free throw for a lick, but
Nope.
man, he'll move you out the way, dunk on you. He'll embarrass you, bro. He would yeah, he would do it all, bro. He put the nuts in your face. He wouldn't want you, but you
Right.
wouldn't want to come back to the paint after that shit, bro. I'm not gonna lie. So
Yeah.
yeah, you gotta give Shaq his credit.
Yes, sir. And then my fourth player on my Mount Rushmore, Hakeem Olajuwon, bro. Two-time NBA champ, back to back. Two-time NBA Finals MVP, NBA MVP, 12-time NBA All-Star, six-time All-NBA first team, three-time All-NBA second team, three-time All-NBA third team, two-time NBA Defensive Player of the Year, back to back as well, five-time NBA All
Mm-hmm.
Defensive first team, four-time NBA All Defensive second team, and NBA All Rookie first team. Uh, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, Hakeem the Dream. You know what I mean? I think for me, I put him on here, especially during that era. Obviously, Jordan wasn't in the picture when they won the back to back chip, but not taking that away from him. Just saying the fact that he was able to win in that era. There was a lot of great centers. You know, that's the golden era for the centers, right? That's what a lot of people like to say. The '90s. He was able to get the best out of a lot of those guys. You know, the dream shake, the footwork, like you brought up earlier, probably the best footwork from a NBA center of all time. Just what he was able to do, bro. Just all around. You get it on both sides of the court. You know, two-way player. That's a center. You know what I mean? I feel like you don't really see that a lot. You know, we have the Jokic's all offensive maestro. We have like Shaq, same thing, and Kareem, same thing. But with Hakeem, he did it on both sides of the court. Like I said, back to back DPOY. He was able to win an MVP, and just what he was able. I think is he the all-time block leader as well? There you go. You know what I mean? Just what, like I said, bro. Just feel like he's one of the more underrated ones too. You know, I feel like he's on a lot of people's lists, but you know, up in the conversations. But for me, being on Mount Rushmore, like I said, just doing it on both sides of the ball. I feel like that gets overlooked a lot. A lot of people don't think about it. They just kind of like, oh, you're good on offense or you're good on defense. Hakeem was both, and the fact that he was able to lead the Rockets to their first or no back to back chips, I think kind of goes to show he was just dominating. And I think one of those, they were a low seed. I think they were like a 6 seed, so not counted out, but weren't favorites to win at the time. And just what he was able to do, bro. I think like I said, his footwork, and I think what just being in the post. I think the one moment for me where I think of Akeem is when David Robinson won an MVP. I don't forgot what year, whatever year it was. They went against each other in the playoffs. Bro, cooked him. Was having him look like a fool, doing the dream shake. If you don't know what it is, everyone just, look it up. You'll see. And having a center do that type of stuff, that's like what a guard would do. So you're a big man being able to get people jumping off the ground and just doing up and unders and spinning fadeaways and, spin jump shots and stuff. Just incredible, bro. I think he's, obviously he's one of the best centers in my opinion. And just what he was able to do, just kind of just revolutionize the game, bro. I know I'm saying that a lot, but I think he definitely did. And just like I said, just being a two-way player, at the center position and being able to lead your team, he is obviously hands down the best player in Houston Rockets franchise. I think it just, he's been there and done that. He's got to the top and got back to the top the next year. So just, incredible, bro. Obviously not the most NBA championships, but in that era, it's kind of hard to dominate it without, with that, Jordan up there.
Jordan,
Yeah, but
you gonna run into Mike.
you gonna run into
Yeah, dude,
Mike,
I
but
like it. Yeah, I like that pick, and he's my first honorable mention, bro. Kind of
mm,
for everything you said, and just the footwork. I think, like you said, he played like he was a guard,
mm,
and that was what was so beautiful about Hakeem's game. But the other guy on my list, honorable mention, last person, Bill Russell.
yeah.
I think he was just iconic. He's a Celtics guy. I'm not putting him on that list. Oh my gosh, but
Yeah, we got
the
three
finals
Lakers.
appearances and wins. Yeah, facts. A lot of Lakers on the Sunners list, but finals appearances speak for themselves. The wins do as well.
Chips. Mm.
Got so many rings,
You gotta
you don't even have enough
you gotta
fingers.
put an extra one on top of a
Right.
finger. Yep.
You gotta double up. And that's Bill Russell's story. I feel like he also sort of revolutionized the game with the way he played above the rim in the 60s. Not a lot of guys were able to do that.
Mm.
Bill was, kind of like the first coming of a mini Dr. J. Dr. J took it and dang that thing. That's what Dr. J likes to say. He used to watch Bill Russell lay it up. He was like, nah, I'm going to turn my hand over. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I just think a lot of guys come from his style of play. Obviously, the Celtics have a ton of banners from when he was there. And RIP.
Definitely.
I know
RIP.
Bill seeing him go to basketball games towards the end of his life, it was beautiful to see because I never got to see him hoop, but
Hmm.
he was able to embrace some of the best players that we have in this game, and he left a great legacy. So shout out Bill Russell. Yeah, that wraps up my list, man. I think I had, like I said, Will, Yoke, Kareem, Shaq, Hakeem, and then obviously Bill were the honorable mentions. So I feel like I got a pretty solid list, bro. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I was about to say. I mean, our lists are very similar, bro. Like you said, center positions is a little. I would say it's a little more solidified to a sense. We know who the greatest is.
Exactly.
I would also put Wilt and Bill Russell as my honorable mentions. So I think it kind of goes to show just how dominant they were. You know, we didn't get to see them play, right? But just what we're told, what the record books. You know, like I said, like you said for Bill, it's the chips, right? Just he was able to build that dynasty in Boston, and that's why they are such a historic franchise was because of him, you know? So I think it kind of goes to
Yeah,
show. And
for
just
real.
like you said with Wilt, bro, just like you said, an alien before anybody probably really even was using that term, you know, just a man amongst boys, a lot like Shaq, just dominant, you know? So I think,
A dominant inside force. Yeah, bro.
yeah, so I had I had Jokic, Shaq, Kareem, Hakeem, and then my two honorable mentions are Wilt and Bill Russell.
Pretty good to me, bro. That sounds like a pretty fair list. Is there anything else you wanted to tell the people, my man?
Uh, I wanted to bring up this dynasty, bro. Fuck.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
let's get into
let's
it,
bring up
bro.
this
Yeah, because
dynasty.
you've been losing,
I've
right?
been
Let's see.
I just lost last week, but I lost against the worst team in the league. No disrespect, of course. I don't mean it to say it like that, but record wise, right? 2-10. What didn't think it was gonna be an easy win, but shout out to Ev, bro. He ended up dropping
Yeah,
445 points on me, bro. Obviously, he has Wemby. You know, he had the number one pick, but just everyone on his roster scored above 40 essentially. Besides Jamal Shed didn't have the greatest game, but everyone else 60, 47, 47, 44, 39, 63 Donovan Mitchell, 46 Shaden Sharp, 47 Brandon Miller. You know, I put up the most points in a loss. You know what I mean? That was something that sucks. It sucks to see that, but oh, there you go. Yeah.
it's
Oh,
all yeah. My shit's all cracked. But we'll say, bro, I'm taking out. Feel like I'm set on that. And I know you took an L to somebody who's worse than me last week, but um, I don't know what Ev was trying to do with that. By the way, I feel like it would be in his best interest to be losing, but you're gonna have to bounce back, bro. Like you
yep.
said, the IR, right?
Yeah.
That's your
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw, but I actually just dropped Nas Reed because I was trying to put Denny in my starter and it was like, oh, you have over, the maximum amount. So I had to drop him. Obviously it sucked and he got picked up by I think your brother. So, good looking out on the waiver wires and I had to, bro. And it sucks because, I had a lot of players injured. Sabonis was injured, Franz was injured. I think I had another injury that I can't think of at the top, but it put me in a position where I had to pick up players and
Yeah,
they performed
predicament.
well. So obviously I don't want to drop them, but I had to. So ended up making some moves, put Case and Wallace in my taxi. Wasn't really getting me a lot of production, get steals, right? But just wanting to get a little bit better on the offensive side for him. So I think didn't want to drop him. Still have AJ Mitchell. He's been able to get me consistently around 30-ish points, fantasy points. So had to make that decision. I have Caleb Love in my taxi as well. I think that's gonna be, a little stash away that I
Yeah,
could kind
he's
of
dope.
keep. But yeah, bro. I mean, obviously, like I said, it sucks losing to, worst record wise team, but he put up the third most points this week. There's not much I could really do. I think I had a 94% um what is it? Like hit rate or like the most points that you could have scored.
Yeah,
I had
yeah,
94%. So
accuracy.
accuracy, yeah. So it's not like it wasn't like me making a wrong decision, but
Yeah,
it
you couldn't even do
I
much.
couldn't
Like
couldn't
that
do
last 6%
yeah, as I
when
say,
it changed
it
it.
wouldn't have even made a difference. I don't think, even if I would have got 100%, like got all the right picks and whatnot. But yeah, bro, it sucks.
Yeah,
But I'm going against who am I going against this week? Sorry, I'm going against EJ. Um, was projected to lose, but I feel like for me, my projections have always kind of had me under. And Nikhil Alexander Walker just got me 58 points in fantasy, so I had to lock that in, and now I'm 54% chance to
Projected to
win.
win.
But that not gonna get too ahead of myself. Got to still you know have the boys perform. But I think I got a good roster, man. My roster's healthy. My only questionable player I would say that I've been starting as of late is probably Sabonis. He's kind of making his way back into the lineup, trying to get accustomed to obviously playing. He's been out for what, like 2 months, whatever it is, or a month, whatever.
Yeah,
So that's kind of the player that
6 to 8 weeks.
kind of waiting to see him production wise, because I think he only got me like 12 points last night. So it
Oh,
sucks,
okay.
but I think I'm in a good spot. Survived. I actually have Sabonis on my bench right now, switching him out for Denny, but I got Kobe White was the other one that was on my IR. So now he's kind of in. He's kind of making his way back. So I think I'm in a good spot, bro. I'm not too much to complain about. I'm still the fourth overall team, still competing for that playoff spot. I think as long as I get to that point, that's all I'm trying to get to. Obviously, it's our first season. We don't know how it's gonna
Yeah.
go.
No, totally.
I'm excited though. I feel like I'm at a
Trying
good
to get
pot.
that swingman.
Yeah, bro, we're trying
Yeah,
to. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, I'm gonna get a
yeah,
spot, bro.
bro.
I like it. Like I said, my team's starting to get healthy. I've had my guys all season that have been, get production. Shout out Peyton Watson, bro. Shout out to Peyton
Mm,
Watson. He's probably been my
he's been
best
hooping.
pickup off of the waiver, I would say. Besides Nas Reed as well, he was putting up crazy numbers for me
Well,
too.
you got Nikhil Alexander Walker off the waiver.
I did. So probably him.
He's the best.
I would say for
Yeah,
sure.
he's the best.
I've been doing my thing, bro. So that's why I'm like, man, like if I go out like that, if I go out with your team just balled out, there's not much I could do. You know what I mean? Because it's not like
Right.
my hit rate is success, rate is pretty good for the most part. I mean 98, like high 80 to 90%. That's kind of what I've been around. So it's just there's
Where you
some
want to
some
be.
some teams that just they do have a little more production, but I'm in a good spot. I like it. But I definitely I gotta keep winning, bro, because I'm not trying to get that 6 seed, not trying to go against Bobby in the first round, because I think it sucks to say it, but he's probably gonna take this season. But it's a long season. We still got a couple more weeks, and then once you get to the playoffs, bro, it's anybody's game. So I'm excited.
Exactly, and it's I think it's a 2 week period, so you got an opportunity if you don't do well. But yeah, I'm 5-8. I'm tanking. I lost. Let's see, last week. Lost to Ari. He was 10-3. He put up 440 points.
Hmm.
I had 350. I'd actually locked in. Like I sabotage I'm sabotaged. Like I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm like locking in 20s and stuff because I'm not trying to compete. I really want a good pick this year. And unlike CJ, it's kind of the complete opposite. I really could care less how my team does. I'm just more so like, oh, okay, like I'm looking at the end of the week standings, seeing where the pick is going to land more so because I'm probably not going to be in the playoffs. But, Cooper Flag, Chet Holmgren still chugging along, and
Hmm.
Edgecombe, they play well. Hopefully, I locked in one of their performances right now because I'm a little worried they might play a little better in the later in the week, and I don't want to have to lock that in. So I locked in like 40 something. But yeah, I mean, I feel good too, bro. I got a little unlucky with the schedule early, but I think if I had kept the roster that I had before, I'd probably be where my brother is. But I think I'm more looking at it as like a future thing because I want to be good for a long time, not like 2 years. And
Yeah.
then I think the way that my team is structured with Edgecombe and Shepard and Flag and Holmgren and Fox and like all these guys, like I think I'll be fine, bro.
No, yeah, you're in a good spot, bro. You have next year. You have your brother's picks and everything. So yeah,
A lot of
yeah,
picks.
a lot of
Yeah, I got a
picks.
lot of picks.
Yep.
So I'll be able to make some good decisions. We'll have to drop some people when I do get to the draft. But yeah, that's the recap for right now. I'm 5-8. What are you, 9-4-1?
9-4.
Okay.
Your brother's
There you go.
9-3-1, and then
9-4.
Ari's ten and
Okay.
three, and then Bobby's 12-0-1. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Bobby will probably get a W, but yeah, my man, that'll probably do it, right? For the
Hmm.
boys over here at Three Man Weave. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Y'all saw it on a 4K camera. It's crispy. I'm in the building. But yeah, man, we're gonna be doing another Mount Rushmore for next episode. So stay tuned for that. We'll catch y'all on the flip side, man. Peace.
Peace.
Three man,
Three
three
man, three
man.
man.